Happy Friday, newsies. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, your host of Neurodiversity Newsstand. And since I was feeling awfully sad that No Cat made an appearance last week, and I'm sure some of you were waiting because I always wait, I'm starting out today with a little bit of a Winston. He does not want to be here right now. I'm not a fan of being on camera. All right, Winston, thank you. So Winston is one of my 6 cats. Yes, I have 6 cats and 3 dogs and 2 snakes. Big animal person, obviously. And Winston is one of my 2 black cats that I have, and I love him. Okay, anyway, so that's my intro with Winston. I am a dirty mess today, you guys. This is unshowered me, dirty hair me. I did end up getting a haircut this week because I needed a trim and blah, 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 to put it off, all that. I cut a little bit off more than I was originally going to because I hated how unhealthy it was all feeling. Like, I want to grow it, but I feel like overall it'll grow better if I take care of it. So I got a haircut this week, but I'm a dirty mess today because I don't know what happened. The day just, I don't know if you've ever had a day like that where just the whole day gets away from you, where you think something's going to take you no time and then you get pulled off in some other direction and this happens and that happens. And I had all these good intentions for today. I had so much computer work to do. I have some things that are due, and I just could not get my stuff together. It was just not happening today. And I didn't even manage to shower. So here I am in an unshowered day. But it happens. It happens to all of us. And so I guess I say, sorry for my dirtiness. At least you can't smell me over there, I guess, on that side. What else do I have for you today? This week, man. It was like a crazy week for me. I don't know where it went and disappeared to. I guess my whole week felt like today felt like I kept trying to get things done and then something else would happen and I'd get derailed, or I'd get really, really motivated to do something and then something would derail me and I couldn't get motivated again. And so it was just like I felt like a lot of starts and stops this week. But I'm an odd person. I'm somebody who does I kind of do well under pressure, and I like it. I like the feeling of pressure, and I like, I don't know, I guess I like meeting my deadlines on time. And so what I tend to do is just not really push myself until I'm really kind of at that point with the deadlines. And then I go, okay, I got to do something. And somehow magic happens. And that's how my brain works. My brain works better than that. So I remember when I was in college and in high school, everyone would say, oh, you should study, or, oh, why don't you get your papers done before the weekend or whatever. And to try to get myself organized and ahead of myself and all of those things. And I could do that, but it felt like I was forcing myself. And when I don't do that and I kind of let the deadlines come up, the magic just happens. My brain just kicks into gear, whatever that is. And it's actually easier for me to do it under the pressure of a deadline than to try to get myself organized for weeks and weeks and weeks ahead of time before it's actually kind of due. That time, I usually use them already in my head thinking about what I'm going to be doing, what I want to be saying before I even sit down at the computer to do anything. So that's that. I just work better that way, and it took me a really long time to figure that out. So I have a few things that are coming up, and so I know this week is going to be like that for me. It'll be super productive and it'll feel amazing. But this week, I guess in prep for a really productive week, I could not focus myself. I could not just sit still and get anything done. It was just such an odd week for me, really off. I'm not sure why either. I don't know what it was. I don't know what kind of set off the whole thing. But I will look back and try and figure it out and stop rolling myself around so you guys don't get nauseous. But yeah, so that's kind of what was going on for me this week. I've had, just like I'm doing right now, really unfocused, right? You guys, I can't stay focused. Okay, focusing. But yeah, that's the kind of week that I had. And coming up next week, I have 3 deadlines. And next week I'm traveling because I have, I'm going to do the AANE keynote that I've been talking about forever is finally coming up next weekend. And so I'll be doing that too, because one of the things that I like to do, I never give the same presentation twice. I always give it, and then when I think about how it went and what I liked about it and what I wanted to flow differently, or what wasn't clear or what I missed or where I need cues for myself, whatever. And I take those notes and I write them down in a little keep note on my phone. And then before I give that presentation, again, I sit down with those notes and I retweak my presentation. I also never really tell the same exact stories every time I give a presentation. So if you see me, you'll never see me twice. You'll never see it again the same way. I don't script myself like that. But it's coming up, and so I'll be working on my presentation, and I really love working on it right before the next one, because then I'm so excited to give. It gets me amped to give a better version of that presentation. It gets me amped to add in the things that I thought were missing the last time. So that's another little trick that I play with myself, because then if I do it too far in advance, I'm not excited to give it. I don't get like, oh, I want to see what people think. I want to see how this goes over and that kind of thing. I can't do that as well. And so I leave that too. So next week is going to be a hectic one for me. That's kind of all I have to share with you. I realize also I keep getting comments and questions about my t-shirts, and I realize that as I sit here, you can only see half of it. And so on this shirt, I will sit up a little bit because it says, I'm a huge fan of space, and on the bottom, I'll try and pick it up here. On the bottom, it says, both outer and personal. So I am a huge fan of space. Both outer and personal, I am. And so that's the t-shirt I'm wearing today, if that helps. All right, let's get to the newsies, shall we? It is Friday, and so we've got this week's news. And I have to tell you, this week, I feel like I've been saying it a lot, but this week was even slower than all of the other slow news weeks that we've had these past whatevers. The past, I guess, month, it feels like. But giving season is beginning. It's November, and so I don't know about you, but I've already gotten all of those emails. I already started getting all the ask emails and join our campaigns and sign up for thises and all of that. So hopefully with that will come some campaigns and some news and some excitement that we can share here. But this week didn't have nothing. It just wasn't especially packed of news. So let me share with you what we enjoyed in the two versions of Neurodiversity Newsstand. If you're new to the channel, Neurodiversity Newsstand is a Facebook and LinkedIn group that I started on both platforms, where we share the latest news in neurodiversity and chat about it respectfully in our groups, and kind of get everybody's perspective, see how it's taken, see how everybody's feeling about it. And then at the end of the week, I hop on here on YouTube and I give you guys a little 20-minute, 30-minute wrap up of the week's news in case you didn't have the time to sit and read all of it, and just so that you know what's going on in our community. So that's what this is, and if you like it, please take the time to go ahead and subscribe below, or give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down when you're done with the video. But for now, let's get ourselves onto the news, okay? Little yellow pad, out it comes. I'm running out of paper on my little yellow pad, and I don't know whether to get another little yellow pad or to actually do the monitor thing that I want to do, or to get some other kind of fun notebook or something for us to share here on. But whatever, I'll work on that. I'll come up with something. Or send me something, whatever you think is a great idea. But moving on to the news. Out of the UK, out of BBC, we got a fantastic article. It was titled, Oliver McGowan's Death Prompts Mandatory Autism Training. And when you took a look at the article, you read a little bit about Oliver McGowan, who was allergic to antipsychotics. His care notes said it. And of course, when someone struggles with communication, especially in tense situations, writing down your information is a great way to make sure that that information gets where it needs to go. However, in this case, it was not taken seriously in his care notes, and he was given medication that he was allergic to, and he ended up passing away from the interaction. So in response, the government has decided that they are going to be putting money towards training their healthcare workers and their social care workers, which America, I hope you're paying attention, because this is the kind of stuff that we need. Everyone should be doing something like this, right? Why aren't our healthcare employees, our healthcare workers, being trained in how to take care of us, right? So I thought this was some really good news. Of course, it comes from a tragedy, but at least it's being memorialized. He's being memorialized for his unfortunate death, and we are going to be hopefully benefiting from some of the stuff that comes out of it. So it was all not for naught, Oliver. Thank you. Next up, out of the Thinking Person's Guide to Autism, we have a fantastic article called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome and Autistic Autism Researchers' Insights. So if you follow that, there's an autistic researcher who researches autism, who also is talking about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and actually talking about it in relation to autism. And so those of us who are delved into the community know quite well that there's a whole bunch of us that have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and a couple of other co-occurs that aren't as well known, but it is a big problem in our community. And so it's about time that we heard from us about it, right? It's about time that autistic researchers are being open about their autism, or able to be open about their autism, and then kind of share their insights with the community. So it was a wonderful interview with Dr. Emily Casanova. So please take a look at that one, especially if you're someone with EDS. It was a really good interview with her. Last up for me in terms of that stuff was shared on the page. It was a fantastic TEDx talk by Jac De... Oh, I can't even write. I don't even read my handwriting. By Jackie, do something with an H, because I can't read my handwriting. It'll be in the links. She did a fantastic TED talk about her autism diagnosis, and how it was a relief and it helped with a lot of things. And she does some great stuff in there. It was a really excellent TED talk. It deserves the traction that it's getting. If you can take the time to watch it, that would be fantastic. She quotes Damian Milton. She does fantastic. So if you can have the time, please take a look at it, and then pass it on to other people. All right. So that was like the major news kind of stuff. But then we had these two little articles that came out, and they were kind of a big deal to me, because I was excited to see, at least if we're going to be in the news, like I'm excited when it's changing the stigma in some way, when it's helping us to get the mainstream to understand autism a little bit better, get us out there, get us some respect and validation. And I think these two articles, I'm pairing them together because I love that they came out at the same time. You want to talk about stigma breakers and stereotype breakers. These two ladies, right? So one of the articles was in Inked. It's about Charles Davis, who is a tattoo artist, a television star, and an autism activist who got her diagnosis at 25. And so that article was in Inked, a mainstream, right, venue for her to be talked about. And I love that it's there and being talked about, because how many times have you seen an openly autistic tattoo artist, right? Now, all autistics are behind the computer. They're all, right? We're all doing math and behind the computer, right? We're never doing artistic things or dangerous things, or whatever everybody thinks about a tattoo, I guess. But yeah, so that article was about Charles. And then paired up right with it, came out like the next day, was a great article from MMA Fighting about Serena De Jesus, who is an MMA fighter and is also autistic. And she says she found peace in the chaos of MMA because of her autism. So it's a great, and she was nonverbal actually until she was 6. So she tells a really interesting story about kind of how she's come to be and how this all works. But again, mainstream format, again, not stereotypically autistic behavior, right? And they're both women. Hooray! So we're dispelling all kinds of stereotypes and stigma with the two of them. So if you have some time, please take the time to read those two articles and think about those two ladies who are out there breaking stereotypes for us, left and right, apparently. And Charles, if you end up watching this or somebody sends it to you, I would like to sign up for a tattoo yesterday. I'm covered, but I still have empty skin. There's places for things to go. So, and I have one in mind. So let me know if you're available. Thanks, Charles. In any case, so those two ladies, I'm pairing their articles together because I think, yeah, some stigma busting was pretty great to see this week. And I'm glad actually that it wasn't a heavier news week, so they actually got some circulation, which is cool. Let's see. In blogs this week, I want to just highlight Yenn Purkis again. They are sharing their experience from inside the psych ward and what it's like to need to advocate in that position when you are an advocate. This is their first time being hospitalized since becoming an advocate. So I think it's a really interesting piece, and I think, just take a look, follow what she's doing. She's sharing her vulnerability, which I think it's one of the hardest things to do as a writer, and she does it often and well, and I hope you're taking the time to heal, Yenn, but I thank you so much for your vulnerability and for sharing your experience with all of us. So that's out there. Again, a book this week. This week I've got a book for you, kind of not really autism-ish, but I'm into it, and I think you guys should check it out. It's called Being Human. It's the memoir of disability rights activist Judith Heumann. Judith got polio when she was very young, at I think 18 months, and she was paralyzed from her polio, and then ended up spending the rest of her life advocating for disability rights, for our rights to public schools and other such issues. And so this is her memoir about what it was like to do that. And I think anybody who calls themselves an advocate, an autism advocate, or who is thinking about doing anything within disability rights should definitely take the time to read this one. It's out on Amazon right now, affordable in Kindle, not yet in paperback, but it'll get there. But it's out now, and you can get it on Amazon if you're interested. Again, it's called Being Human, and it's the memoir of Judith Heumann. And I guess that's kind of it. And I feel bad. I'm looking at the little ticker on the clock, and I feel bad. It's only 15 minutes. And I try to give you guys, you know, like good meat and potatoes, but I don't want to waste your time either. I'm not a big fan of that. And so I really only put in here the stuff that was impactful in our groups. And I will just take a few minutes here at the end of this short video to kind of talk about me, because I'm still working on it, you guys. I am still working on how it is that I'm supposed to just publicize myself and talk all about me and what I do, because that's really hard for me. It's one of my biggest struggles, but I'm working on it. So here we go. Not this Saturday. A week from this Saturday, I will be in Boston. I will be doing the AANE Conference. I will be keynoting that conference and talking about self-defined living, which is what I'm working on. It's what I've done with my life, and I want to share with you guys how to do that. And I'm going to be giving this keynote, and starting in 2020, I will be offering, I hope, some really good courses on self-defined living. So if you guys think it's interesting and you want to tackle your life in a way that feels more empowering, I would like to help you do that. I want to walk you through those steps. So that's what I'll be talking about on November 16th, which is a week from Saturday in Boston. I'll give you the links to register if you guys want to come and see me there. If not, it is my goal for 2020. I'm going to say it on every video. It is my goal for 2020 to meet and speak to as many of you guys as possible. So if you have any ins and any organizations in your area and you want to see me too, let them know I've opened my calendar. Let them know to reach out to me. I want to get out there to see you guys. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the tools that you can live your own life, and that you're not waiting around for the supports to come, which we hope will eventually come. And so keep a lookout for that. On that topic, I also am continuing to do my work with Spectrum Women, and I just put out our November edition of Asking Spectrum Women, in which I take the questions from the Spectrum Women followers and I answer them monthly. I do a Q&A once a month for Spectrum Women, and the November one just came out, so I'll give you a link to that also, because I was doing that too. And I guess that's all I've got to share with you. Maybe I'll throw the blog in there that goes with the self-defined living. But that's kind of what I have going on. That's why my week coming up is going to be so crazy. And that's why I want to take 2 minutes to ask you guys a question. So next Friday, I will actually be traveling. It will be my travel day prior to my keynote. So I need to ask you guys, would you rather me skip Neurodiversity Newsstand next week, do it early on Thursday, do it from my hotel room on Friday, or I guess those are the three choices, because I can't imagine coming home on Sunday and wanting to do this. I'll probably be exhausted. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Should I skip a week? Should I do it early? Or should I do it from my hotel room? That is up to you guys. You let me know in the comments. Send me an email if you want to, because as always, I ask you, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss when the videos come out. They do come out on Fridays most of the time, except for last week. And I put them out different times. So if you want to make sure you get a notification, you can hit that notification bell. Lastly, please let me know if I missed anything. If there's something you thought should have been in this week, if there's something that you wish I hadn't talked about, if you have an event, a book, a blog, something you think I should be sharing to the group and here, please go ahead, mention it to me in the comments, get in touch with me through social media, or you can email me directly at info at beccalaurie.com. And I think that's it for me this week, you guys. Go have an amazing weekend. I'm going to probably sit myself in front of the computer this weekend and try and get some work done, I hope. You tell me what you did with your weekend. Tell me it was something amazing. Tell me something funny that happened. Tell me something embarrassing that happened. Make my weekend fun too. Okay, you guys? Just do something with self-care. Do something worth doing and don't waste your spoons. Have an amazing week, you guys. I will see you next week. I'm Becca Laurie Hector, your host of Neurodiversity Newsstand.